Hello and welcome to this presentation for the B1 Speaking and Listening English Test for British Citizenship or Settlement, or in other words, indefinite leave to remain. My name is Katie and I work for the award-winning publishing company How to Become, the UK's leading career specialist and educational resource providers. Now, passing the English language test in speaking and listening skills is part of showing that you are ready to become a citizen or a permanent resident of the UK. This short video will discuss everything you need to do in order to prepare for your interview, and I'm going to provide some real golden tips that you should note down and consider when applying for your visa for indefinite leave to remain in the UK. I'm going to teach you how to pass the English language interview for British citizenship or indefinite leave to remain. Now, you will probably know that you have to take the Life in the UK test, but also you will have to take an English language test before you can get your visa. Now, throughout this video, I'll be giving you some important information on how to pass this test. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll tell you a few of the things that I think you really need in order to do well in the exam. Now, How to Become have also created this #1 resource for anyone hoping to pass the assessments. Absolutely crammed with amazing tips, this is the ideal preparation for your B1 examination. It will show you how to successfully pass the speaking and listening tests and help secure your visa. It contains a range of invaluable tips on how to prepare for the test, sample practice questions, advice on how to answer, and expert insight into what the assessors are looking for in your B1 exam. Stick around and I will tell you where you can purchase your very own guide to help you with the process of passing the B1 speaking and listening exam. So let's look at what I'm going to be covering here. Okay, first of all, we'll be looking at what an interview contains. Then we'll look at some of the things that you need to do to pass the interview. So the interviewer, of course, will be assessing your English, but this doesn't just mean they will be checking that you don't make any English mistakes when you talk. They will be looking at other things, okay? So if you are curious about this, I'll be telling you exactly what they will be looking for. And I will provide some top tips on what you can do to ensure you pass your interview. So the first thing to do before you book your interview is to make sure you are doing the correct test. Now, to apply for British citizenship or indefinite leave to remain, you need to take a test at B1 level at a secure language centre. Now, there are 2 tests in which you can take, the IELTS skills test and the Trinity grade 5 test. And in this video, I will briefly discuss each of these tests so you can have a broader understanding of the types of tests used to determine British citizenship. Now remember, you only need to take the test that tests your speaking and listening ability. You will not be assessed on your writing. So as mentioned, you can either take the IELTS B1 Life Skills test or the Trinity GE SE grade 5 test. Now, both exams reflect typical situations you experience when you communicate with others in an English-speaking country. Both tests can be used in your application for indefinite leave to remain. Both tests, the results will last for 2 years, okay? So if you do fail, there is no limit to how many times you can retake that test, so you can simply try and try again. Only results secured at the test centre SELT, which also is known as the Secure English Language Test, will be accepted for your visa application. So here is a breakdown of the types of tests and the length of the tests and the difference, whether the test is taken alone, the number of parts in the test, topic presentations, and whether there's a listening task, okay? So as you can see, the Trinity grade 5 test is 10 minutes long. It will be taken alone. There are 2 parts to the test and there will be a topic presentation that you will need to do. And the IELTS test is 22 minutes long. You will be assessed with someone else, so you will not be alone in the assessment. There are 3 parts to the test. There is no topic presentation, but there will be a listening task. Okay, so what will you have to talk about in the exam? There are a list of subjects that you can expect will come up, but this doesn't mean that they will all come up, but you need to be ready for them, okay? Some of the subjects you're expected to talk about include family and friends, hobbies, shopping, job and work, health, free time, education and training, transport and travel, housing, and life experiences. You can work on learning new words to talk about these subjects before the interview. So my advice is to write down some mind maps or a list to help you remember different words to use in your assessment. So remember to use these words if you can in the exam to show that you can use a lot of variety of different words to help you express your thoughts. Okay, so the IELTS life skills test. So this test lasts a total of 22 minutes. However, you will not be expected to talk all that time as you will go into the interview room with another test taker and share that time between you and the other person. So you will be assessed alongside another test taker, like I just said, in order to assess your ability at communicating with other people. So the examiner will have the job of judging the language skills of both of you at the same time. Now, the test is broken up into two main sections with 5 different tasks in total. So section 1, ask and answer personal questions and give a short talk and ask questions. Section 2 is listen to 2 different recordings and answer some questions. Plan an activity and ask and answer questions about a specific topic. So the Trinity GE SE grade 5 test. So this test lasts a total of 10 minutes and the test differs from the IELTS test as there will be just you and the examiner in the interview room. So the examiner will talk to you and judge your language skills against the B1 criteria. So in this test, the examiner will be specifically checking to see if you can do the following in English in particular. So talk about future plans and what will happen, say what you prefer, talk about recent events and experiences, give reasons, say how long events and experiences lasted, and say how much and how many. And this test is broken up as follows. So in section 1, you will be given a topic of your choice. And section 2, you'll have a conversation about 2 different subjects. So what is the interviewer looking for in the test? Well, the examiner will be checking to see if you can communicate in English at the expected level. This is the B1 level according to the CEFR framework, which has been agreed as the level that you need to pass. So this is a basic user level, so not intermediate and not advanced. But how can you show that you are at this level? Well, the first thing is that you need to show that you can communicate and interact well. You will have to respond to the questions asked without too much hesitation. Give an appropriate answer, so not answering a different question and not just giving one-word answers. Make comments to what has been said, i.e. that's a shame, that's happened to me. And ask questions to the interviewer or the other person being interviewed. So as you can see, this means you will also have to show that you can listen well. You can't answer a question or make a comment if you haven't listened and understood what's been said to you. So make sure you are paying attention and respond in the correct way. And if you don't say very much or even go silent, then the interviewer will think that you have not a good understanding of English and therefore you're not able to communicate well in English language. So the interviewer will be listening to see that the language you use is at the set level or above. Now, as I said before, the level you are expected to communicate is at quite a basic level. So this means that you are not expected to say very long, complicated sentences, but you do need to explain clearly what you mean. So here are some things you will need to do in order to show that you can use a range of language at this B1 level, okay? So talk about things you did in the past and recently, things you plan to do in the future, things you like doing in your free time, say how long you've done things for, and talk about how many and how much. Now the interviewer will be looking to see if you can talk without making many mistakes. You may make some mistakes when you talk and a few mistakes will not be a problem. But if you make a lot of mistakes, then it will be difficult to understand you and this will affect the interviewer's impression of you. So what you can do is to make sure you don't make any mistakes is if you have lived and worked in the UK for some time, then you can probably speak without making too many mistakes. But ask a friend or member of your family what they think. If you're quite new to the UK or have not spoken much English, then you will probably need to practice by doing a short English language course or studying online. Reading is a great way to improve your English, so read as much as you can and look at the way the sentences are made. In the interviewer, try and speak a little more slowly than you normally would do so you can concentrate on not making mistakes. The interviewer will want to know if you can use a good range of words and you can use the words for the right things. If you don't know many words or if you use the same words all the time, then this will not impress the interviewer. Okay, so for example, instead of repeating the words I like, as in I like watching films, instead say I'm keen on watching films or I'm a great fan of whatever it is, okay? So can you see how this would impress the interviewer more, okay? So think of some different ways to say the same thing in order to impress the interviewer. So another thing the interviewer will be looking for is how clearly you can speak. You need to speak clearly enough so the other person or people in the interview room can understand you. You won't be expected to speak with a British accent, of course, but if your accent is too difficult to follow, then this might have a negative effect on the interviewer. Again, practice your pronunciation by listening to someone talk English well and then repeat it in the same way. Another thing is to try and put some feeling into what you are saying, okay? So if you speak in a very flat way or sound bored, then this won't impress the interviewer, okay? So try and avoid a tone in your voice that sounds constant and it doesn't change up and down. So if you have a really boring voice like this and you carry on talking like this, then again you can see that it's just not that interesting, okay? So try and do different things with your voice in order to show that you're interesting, okay? So here are my essential tips to do well in the interview, okay? Listen carefully to the questions and answer them exactly. Speak slowly and carefully so you don't make many language mistakes. Comment on what has been said and speak. The interviewer won't know if you are on the level if you don't say much in the interview. Make an effort and ask questions to the interviewer or the person being interviewed. Use different words to show that you have a wide range of English vocabulary. Speak in a lively way and do not use a flat or bored tone. And watch YouTube videos from Trinity and IELTS Life Skills to see samples of typical interviews. So you can find more hints and tips in our book, Pass the B1 Speaking and Listening Test for British Citizenship. So I've given you some tips on how to do well in the interview, but as we've said at the beginning, preparation is very important, okay? So this is a great guide to help prepare you for the interview for your speaking and listening English test. So to purchase the guide, please check out www.howtobecome.com or search on Amazon the title of the guide, which I just mentioned previously. Now that completes this video on passing the B1 speaking and listening English test, and I hope you have taken away some useful points to help you prepare for your assessment. Now don't forget to subscribe to the channel, it is free. Like this video, look out for more of my upcoming videos to help you prepare for the B1 assessments. If you do have any comments or queries, please drop me a message below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching and I wish you all the best in your assessments.